Good afternoon, guys. This is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News, here with another business spotlight, another FNN News business spotlight. Today, we're going to highlight GLB, otherwise known as Grammy Branding. Today, GLB decided to do a drive issuing self-care kits to at-risk communities, starting with the town of Eatonville. So GLB distributed 150 masks, or kits rather, to the town of Eatonville, and will be issuing the first 1,000 to at-risk communities such as Eatonville, Paramore, and Pine Hills. So to give us a more in-depth view of what's going on is GLB CEO Latria Graham, and we will also have the mayor of the town of Eatonville, Mayor Eddie Cole. So I'm going to bring in the one and only Latria. All right. Welcome, Latria. How's it going?
Great. Thank you for having me, Mellissa.
Awesome. So talk a little bit about this initiative that you and Branding Together Foundation have going on, and why Mental Health Awareness Month was so important for you to be a part of.
Yes. So today we got together to put together kits to give out to local community residents because as part of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month, we wanted to make sure that residents feel safe and protected. I think a lot of people don't realize that within this pandemic, it has brought a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. I believe an article in the Washington Post stated that suicide rates are up by 1,000%. The calls, talk lines have been up. And we just wanted to make sure that as Florida reopens, that we go into communities and partner with local community groups who are doing community work on the ground, that are touching residents, that they have the protective equipment that they need. It's very hard to come by these days. As you know, masks are a popular hot ticket item, and there's a lot of price gouging going on. And so we just wanted to make sure that our local communities were equipped and give them that sort of peace of mind to feel protected and safe as they carry out their everyday essential activities. So the self-care kit, obviously we've done initiatives around mental health in the past. That's part of our focus areas as we give back to the community within mental health, as well as inclusion and diversity. And the kit included a mask, gloves. We also decided to do a pedometer because although we are staying at home, we want to make sure that residents are staying fit and active. And then we also did a bookmark with coloring activities. And then I'll let Mayor Cole talk about some of the additional resources that the town placed in the self-care kits to ensure that the elderly residents have knowledge and information around the resources that they need to get through this. So it's great to be able to do it. But like I said, we wanted to give that peace of mind of protection as you go to your everyday grocery store, giving them a recyclable grocery tote that's personable to them and that they can use, not worrying about touching things and following the social distancing guidelines.
Makes sense. Go ahead, Mayor Cole.
Well, I'm just excited. This relationship with GLB goes farther than this event. So relationships create opportunity. And so when I was thinking of our 130th anniversary of the historic town of Eatonville being the first Black incorporated city in America, GLB stepped to the plate and they put us on the map. And when I say that, there was everybody who's who was at this event, which created opportunity for a number of different agencies and state reps to come in and hear about some of the great things that were going on in Eatonville, as well as getting the Robert Woods Foundation Nationwide Award. And when we went there, GLB was a part of that. So again, I'm just happy for the relationship that we have with them.
Awesome. So Latria, kind of talk about some of the other communities that you'll be working with as well, and will you be also aiming for seniors in those at-risk communities as well, or was that specifically to the town of Eatonville?
Yeah, so we actually work with Derek McCrae. They actually had a food distribution recently, the pastor of the Experience Christian Center in Pine Hills, where we were able to give them 300 masks to pass out to residents in Pine Hills. We've also partnered with Princeton Pediatrics. Dr. Candace Jones is a local pediatrician that service a lot of kids and families. She regularly appears on TV to talk about how you can take care of yourself during these times. And they were able to give us some medicine and different things to include in some of the self-care kits for the children in the area as well. So we were able to give her some kits to give out to some of their patients that they have coming in, as they have remained open during the pandemic as well. So we are obviously wanting to do more. Obviously, the need is greater, which is why we've opened it up for other people to get involved, to contribute, so that we can get more kits as they come in and become available. As I said, a lot of these preventative equipment is very hard to come by. And I have people asking every day, how can I get masks? And some of the suppliers in which we are from our business side provide them in large quantities only. So it's hard for individuals to purchase them off the market individually in low quantities for a reasonable price. So we want to just make sure that we eliminated that as a worry in the minds of some residents, that, hey, we got you covered. We're going to give you some of the disposable masks, some of the cloth masks, which I'm sporting here today. Just pull it down to make sure they're prepared and they're protecting themselves. And one of the biggest things that I'm seeing is, as this gets closer to home to some of us, I think a lot of people are really not taking the social distancing guidelines seriously. And I think that we have a responsibility to our fellow citizens and people who are caring for people who are elderly, to make sure that we take the appropriate measures. I know the town of Eatonville does a really great job of making sure that they're doing outreach. This is not something new for them. They have a senior citizen population that they have instituted some activities already with delivering food, as well as other initiatives that Mayor Cole has always done for the local community here. So I think partnering with them, understanding that they touch people and that they're on the ground was a great choice and decision. And we know that they're going to get in the hands of the right people. And I don't know if you want to talk about some of the
one of the things before then, I just want to make sure that you know that we are grateful for the donation of the self-care kits from Brand Together Foundation, made possible by GLB. So we are truly grateful. It's great to see that our small businesses are looking out for us. Sometimes you'll find small businesses basically going to the big places trying to say, we're out here. Well, I'm glad you have that diversity to say, I'm looking big, small, I'm looking out for everyone. Yeah. And we chose to use our mask basically because we got a large population of seniors that we're going to look out for, the 60 plus to 60 plus, because it's important that they feel secure. And that, you know, with everything that they're going to be getting, as well as we have some good information that we're also packing in the bag. They're also going to get a little nice 1887 founders, one of our founders days. They're going to get one of these towels, as well as minimizing the risk to become a victim of financial exploitation or home repair fraud, the power to prevent any kind of abuse that goes on to seniors. So this little care package that they're getting is something that they can use way after this is over, from the part of the pandemic to the portion of just being abused as senior citizens. So we really want just to say to you, thank you so much for what you're doing for our community.
Absolutely. Anytime. That is my responsibility.
Awesome. And then speaking of 60 plus, we understand that Mayor Cole does have a birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Mayor Cole.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. 10% off a lot of places now. 10%.
The ultimate privilege. Awesome.
Yes.
But speaking to that though, being a part of that community, how have you personally seen that community in the town of Eatonville handle the COVID-19 response? Like, how have you been receiving any calls from your constituents? How have the families been handling the COVID-19 response there?
That's a great question. One of the things we did, being a small town, we do have a phone tree, and then different events we have the seniors' phone numbers. So our executive assistant, Miss Veronica King, has been personally calling our seniors. Now, you got to understand something about seniors, especially within our community. If you tell them don't come out, they're not coming out. Matter of fact, I had food for them, and they were saying, "Thank you, Mayor. Leave it at the door. Back up." They would get it literally with the mask on. I thought one had a football helmet on. They're so serious about this thing. So I'm so excited that they really took this thing as a serious deal. And we are on a conference call weekly with all the different mayors. And I have bragging rights as I drive through the different cities. And I won't say the city, but I was telling them the other day, somebody didn't give them the memo about social distancing because their whole area, people were together. There was no mask. I have to say about Eatonville, one thing I know for sure, they took it serious, and we were one of the zip codes. In both of our areas, our zip codes was one of the lowest of any coronavirus, because our people really actually listen. And when we would stop, and being a small town, I could stop and say, "Hey, come kind of break up a little bit here," and they'll say, "Yes, sir, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." And so I think we took this serious. I think our seniors did, and I think we did a pretty good job getting the communication out about it. And now next week, what I'm working on is to tell us to go a little. Let's go a little farther. Let's go a little longer. Let's kind of watch the rest of the world for a minute, because you've done so well. Let's kind of just step back and watch them. Let's give them at least a couple more weeks before we are really just moving around.
And that's actually a perfect point to transition to you real quick, Latria. Given the initiative of you being able to hand out kits, like, what are your personal thoughts on the current reopening of the state? Like, what I'll ask you as well, Mayor, but I want to get Latria's viewpoint on it as well, especially as a small business owner. Like, what are your thoughts on how the state is reopening in phase one?
My thoughts is be responsible. I know that small businesses, including myself, have seen a traumatic effect on our businesses as usual. And everyone is ready to get back to work. We want our economic development or activity throughout the city to pick up again. But at the same time, we want to be responsible to the fact that the virus is still real and it's still out there. And that if you are reopening, that businesses are taking the appropriate measures to be responsible to others. It's not so much about yourself. You should want to protect yourself, but in those conversations, understanding that you have to think about others. You have to think about employees as you're reopening. You're making sure you have the appropriate measures, sanitizers available. Do you have social distancing communication? Making sure that the policy is clear to employees as well as customers that engage if you have a storefront. And that's what I want to see. I think, again, I represent the small business world that have seen some revenues go down in the past couple of months. But at the same time, I'd rather save a life than save a dollar. So that's
Bars.
taking. Yeah. So that's my take on it.
Awesome. Very well said. Mayor, let's get your thoughts on it as well.
Well, I feel the same way. Unfortunately, we live in a country that everything's instant. Our whole life is instant. So even when this virus came upon us, we had even our national leaders instantly think it was going to leave. You can't tell a virus when to come or when to go, when it's here. And so it's going to be about being patient. And that's what I can't see. And that's what's the scary part in our country and with people is everybody wants stuff right now. So instead of enduring this time for lives, we are patiently impatient. We want to run right back in. And I'm just hoping that we be conscious that this is real. Someone, while we're wanting to go, someone had to go to a funeral that didn't have an opportunity for everybody just to even be there because you didn't know what would happen there. So I'd rather have, 6 weeks of quarantine that we can open something and close a store than close a casket. And so with that in mind, we're going to still be out here speaking to those who want to hear, to be mindful that this is real.
Wow. Very well said. There was a bar in there too, Mayor. We heard that. We caught that.
Yes.
And I mean, speak a little bit to that relationship that you mentioned about working with the other mayors, Mayor Cole. Like, have you received bits of items of advice or items of kind of pitfalls to avoid with regards to prepping the town of Eatonville, or any kind of tips from the other mayors, or perhaps you've been able to do it the other way. Perhaps you've been able to provide feedback to help the other mayors in what they're doing as well. Kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think more than being a mayor, we were just a group of leaders that know we have a lot of people that follow us. So there was no status quo of this was Mayor Dyer on the phone and this is Mayor Cole or the mayor from Kissimmee or my good friend from Winter Park and Maitland. We were on these, yesterday was our day, every Monday. We were on through the Tri-County Florida League of City Mayors, as well as Mayor Demings. Pretty much, we were on almost every week with all of us together. And being the mayor of Orange County, he's asking what our opinions on different things. And so this is one of those things where it wasn't about who you are, but how we all can help each other. And we had great ideas from each other. We heard the Popka is going to have their graduation in a big park that they have social distance, and the kids would be like in the parade. So the seniors will drive their cars and people can wave at them, and they'll have on their cars the things that they're like, what college they're going to, the things that they accomplished. And so I was like, everybody, it was like a kid. All of us were like a kid seeing somebody with a new toy, like, wow, that's cool. And so there's no one, in our normal meetings, I think everybody's trying to say what we're doing in our town. These meetings were, what are you doing in your town?
Right.
So we have come together where we're humble. Not black, not white, not Republican, not independent, not Democrat, but a group of leaders that wants to make sure that we give our residents the best information we can. So that was one of the best things that happened was these weekly calls. I want to thank Mayor Demings for opening that door, as well as the Florida Tri-County Florida League for allowing these opportunities to happen.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to ask you guys a couple more questions, but I'm going to slip in a quick commercial break right here. All right, everybody that's watching, stay tuned.
We wanted to move back home to be closer to his family. We decided to go with pods because things were stressful enough.
We weren't sure how long we were going to need storage for, so we needed something that was flexible, and then they can deliver the container to wherever we move to.
We haven't found the perfect house yet, but we're still looking.
All right. All right, we are back with Shane Graham and Mayor Eddie Cole. Thank you both so much for being on, on this business spotlight. So Latria, quick question for you. With regards to, being a small business owner, talk a little bit about your relationship with the African American Chamber of Commerce and how you've been able to plug in with them and work together with them in terms of your measures to help the community.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Chamber has been extremely supportive. I've been a member for about 4 years now. They are doing everything they can to sort of do marketing for all of their small business members. They've sent out newsletters to their database to promote different sales that every company may have going on, and really trying to engage corporations, some of their corporate sponsors, as well as the city, the county, to support some of the businesses if they have, whether it's the personal protective equipment, or if they're in the food industry, and have transitioned to deliveries, really trying to get people to support those businesses. And one of the things that they just recently announced is some grant funding for members. So members have the opportunity now to go on and apply for a grant to help out. So I'm very impressed with where the Chamber has gone and what they've been able to do. They've been having a ton of webinars and workshops for those very, very small companies having to transition to online, learning how to do that, as well as I think they are having a session around mental health. So having one of the mental health counselors come on to talk about that, because the depression and anxiety, I mean, just imagine being a small business owner and just not knowing. I think last month I went just through these, I couldn't sleep because I'm like, well, I don't know what's going to happen next.
Wow.
And so I think keeping things in perspective is very important, knowing that we're all going to get out of this, we're going to get hit, but we all get back up. So I think they've been a tremendous help and resource for the small business community, especially.
Awesome. And Mayor Cole, kind of speak to how you've interacted with the small business owners in your community that may have, been going through the same struggles that Latria is talking about. Maybe, they're losing sleep over the loss of revenue for their companies. They don't want to go under. They're looking for funding, and in some cases, funding is difficult to apply for. That's been a common pain point. Mayor, kind of talk about that.
Well, within our small business, one of the great things, a couple of restaurants that we have here, Mad Crab, they were able to still kind of convert theirs into a delivery, or not only a delivery, because they were already doing Uber, but a pickup. And it believe it or not, they didn't lose much business from theirs because people was picking up. And so we have our restaurants as well as Zaxby's that were still being able to have their drive-throughs that they were able to do. Now, the ones that I'm very concerned about and I'm praying for is like our salons, hair care salons and stuff. And that's just not in Eatonville, but all over, where they didn't come up with something for them. I look at one that's not in Eatonville, but I look at something that he was already doing before this as of social distancing is Phase to Froze or West Kennedy. Everything there was already an appointment. So there was never 3 or 4 people in there at any time because you knew it was your time to come in and you was meeting someone out when they were leaving. And I wish they could have used just a couple companies like that, or even offered that as, let's make it appointments. And you know how many heads you have to do in a day. You may have longer hours, but at least can carry you through throughout this time. But they didn't have that opportunity. So we've done as much as we could, as also putting information out there of the small business loans. We had a phone call from Mr. Lorenzo Williams with Orange County that was telling us about little small loans and things that were out there that he heard of, hearing other cities call and tell you about money or agencies calling telling about money that's out there that hopefully could help in the town of Eatonville.
Got you. And then a quick addendum to that question. We know you're a man of faith, Mayor Cole. So talk a little bit about the churches and how they've been responding during the pandemic. You know, there's been a bit of a controversy on a national scale. You know, some pastors choosing not to close, some choosing to hold services as normal, some who have modified their approach. What have you seen there in Eatonville?
Like I said, much respect overall to all in Eatonville. Macedonia, which is a large church, a life center, St. Lawrence, all of them, and I can't name them all, but they respected it. So you see a lot of them on Facebook now. But they did open up something else that I was saying, this is awesome, and that's the food pantries. They did an excellent job in the food pantries in our area. With Macedonia having a feeding every Tuesday, what they did was they provided a to-go lunch every day. They provided a to-go lunch. So these churches really came through, I really believe, in our area, being respectful to a scripture of obeying the laws of the land. You know, right. For those who felt that they still had to, we know the churches within. Anyway, so you can do without standing and talking to somebody for a couple, 3 or 4, because we all have to do it. So we have to lead by example. And I must say, applaud the ministers of the town of Eatonville. They did an excellent job.
Awesome. All right. So, Latria, we're going to wrap things up a little bit here because I know you guys have quite a busy day. But I did want to circle back to you with regards to you know, the other initiatives that, you know, Ram League Branding is up to, what Branding Together Foundation is up to, and talk a little bit more about Branding Together Foundation so folks get to know a little bit more about that.
Yes. So our primary goal during the month of May is to support mental health awareness. So we're going to do whatever we can to distribute more kits. We actually have opened up a fundraiser. So if you want to contribute to sponsor a kit, you can go to our foundation Facebook page and make a donation. We've seen quite a few so far. Shout out to Champions of Faith International Church, Pastor Gigi Palmer, who's made a contribution and is promoting it as well within their into the church. Also, I just want to sort of talk about some of the different pointers that the local mental health associations are trying to spread to business owners as well as communities. We'll be doing a lot of posting via social media, digitally to make people aware of different things that you can do. Aware of different hotlines that you can call if you just want to talk to somebody, because if you are having different feelings, it's important to express yourself and go into a safe place to talk to someone. So those hotlines are available. That's pretty much the focus for us going into the next month. I do believe it will probably extend outside of the month of May. It's just quite ironic that it falls within these trying times that we're in, but I do, I foresee this going into June or July, yes. Having an impact on everyone. So we'll serve to be advocates around mental health. One of the things that we want to do is do training for individuals and recruit volunteers who want to get trained in serving as a responder or serving on the front line. We had planned to start doing that at a certain point, but obviously we can't have any gatherings right now. So we got to figure out how we can get people trained to, if you hear someone say something that may sound a little bit off, how do you respond to that? You know, how do you direct them to the appropriate person or organization to talk to? So that's our focus. And again, like I said, we're going to try to get as many kits out as we can to people that really, really have a need. I will say I'm just really proud of the town of Eatonville and a lot of the different municipalities who are on the ground already, just showing support, showing people that they care. A lot of the faith-based community has really they're doing a lot of outreach. And so one of the things that from us, from a perspective of philanthropy and cause marketing and all of these different strategies of outreach, I think the approach has been wonderful with a lot of the smaller and grassroots organizations. Like I said, I mentioned the Experience Center with Pastor Derek McCrae over there, what he's doing and giving out. I saw a giveaway by the Hope Church today. Yes. Pastor was on live giving out tons of food to families. And I just think that it's very, very important for us to stay connected with people. Although there is this concept of social distancing, figuring out ways of how we can connect people with people following the guidelines and help support one another is just very, very important.
Awesome. Well, please continue to stay in touch with us. We'll continue to keep our audience posted on everything that you've got going on. Thank you both for taking the time to stop in and chat with us and let us know about the initiatives that both of you have going on, because you're both busy serving your respective communities. And thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And see you pretty soon. Go Magic.
We're praying with you, bro. We're praying with you.
Yeah, we're hoping that some games come in, the NBA gets started up at some point, so that we can sort of bring people together. Yes. But thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for sticking around and tuning in to this FNN News Business Spotlight. We will have a lot more interviews like this one. And if you like this one, make sure to like us at Florida National News on Facebook, at FNN News TV, or at FNN News Live. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is basically at Florida National News on YouTube. We wanted to make sure that we were easy to find for you guys on YouTube. But thank you so much for your time. I will be right back here in an hour at 5 p.m. with the evening news rundown. Thank you guys so much for your time. We are going to end out on a commercial break.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin Clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin Clean.